Hey YouTube, I just want to get right into it. Thank you so much for your subscriptions and for liking my video, and also for the last video I did. This is just an update video because I know that a lot of you are thinking about where my health is going, and also it gives signals to maybe where your health is going, and I appreciate so much all of you tuning in and everything. Anyway, Hobbs is out. He's out getting ribeyes right now. We're still on the lookout for decent ribeyes in Mexico, which is a thing. I don't think they feed their cattle the same type of diet as we do in the States, and I find them to be sinewy and kind of tougher comparatively. So he's going to try yet another thing at Sam's Club, and we'll see how we go from there. Anyway, it is less expensive, so that's a really good boon. But the bottom line is you guys, is that technically I don't have RA. The range is 0 to 14 to show that you have RA factor. Anything over 14 would then put you into a category where you'd have to go and see a rheumatologist and find out what kind of context that is exactly. And mine was 11. So I would like to have seen that number lower, to be quite honest. I feel like anything that's kind of close to the higher part of the range doesn't speak very well to where I'm at. But I technically don't have it. And so now I have to revisit the option of my thyroid being the cause of my white blood cell count being out of range. I had 2 numbers, as you remember, that were low, and then 2 numbers that were high. And all of that, having looked it up on the internet, I had a doctor reach out to me and tell me, not to panic and get freaked out over my numbers, that I probably should go in and have those interpreted. But since I'm not at the rheumatoid number 14 or higher for the RA factor, I didn't feel it's necessary to go waste their time, my time, get even more anxious, spend more money. I definitely would if my number was 14 or higher. I'd be like, okay, there is some kind of a low problem happening. But I'm not totally out of the woods, I feel. So I am going to do the iodine protocol, and I am getting iodine that says Lugols on it, and I'm going to try it because I had such good success with taking the Mag-C and the D3 together in combination. It got my D3 up into the normal range. It's now 59. I'm rounding up a little bit, but it's 59, which is almost dead center of sufficient vitamin D. And the D3, I take 2 UIs, 2,000 UIs a day. And I thought about taking it down to 1, but I decided since 2 just got me to average, I probably should just keep up with that protocol. And I'm happy for that. And the magnesium, of course, has made my regularity a non-issue. I'm going into the 6th month of being perfectly regular for the first time in my adult life. And I had problems even before I was an adult. I can remember being 9 and 10 years old and struggling and not knowing why. And come to find out now that it's mineral deficiency, of all things. Here I was, supporting my diet with high fat and low protein. I've been keto since 2017. I've been carni since 2020. I'm 56 and a half. I'm on the dark side of 57, actually. And this is kind of how my life's been. So that was an absolute eye-opener to how important mineral supplements are. Now, I know there's a lot of carni gurus that say you only need to eat meat to have it happen. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's not true. Our soil has been eroded and depleted of natural minerals that we apparently evolved to consume to some degree to help us function at optimal levels. And I need the supplements, obviously. I do. I've done everything. I've had fat up to 300 grams, which would have blown some people out of the water and caused them to have, unlimited diarrhea. That doesn't happen with me. I do go a little bit better if I have a lot of fat. But I mean, try to eat 300 grams of fat, guys. There's just no way. I mean, it is just so much. I'm struggling to have the 200 grams that Stephanie Keto Person is advising women to do, and so is Elizabeth Bright. There's a few women out there that are saying to support your hormones and get them regulated and working properly, you need an X amount of fat a day, and you need X amount of protein. And I'm still, the jury's still out on that. I am doing it very religiously now, but I've also done some other things. I've taken my caffeine to decaffeinated. I've taken all diet pops out, even ones that just say they're flavored with nothing, natural flavors. I don't know what that is. I've taken cream out, okay? I've taken out all stimulants. And my numbers, some of my numbers show that I might have high cortisol. I'm not surprised at all. I'm under a great deal of stress for a lot of different reasons. So for me, I'm trying to support thyroid health and beyond that, hormonal health as a whole. I'm treating my body as a whole unit. At first, I was just kind of attacking what I could do to resolve the thyroid issue. And now I'm no longer doing that. I'm saying, okay, there's a problem. The blood count numbers being out of bounds means that my body is fighting something. I think it's fighting its own thyroid because I have Hashimotos. Even the doctor that wrote me, he says, well, I don't know much about RA or Hashimotos. And I was like, okay, well, thanks. And please subscribe to me and follow me and just check out what I'm going to do. And I appreciated his concern and his insights. But if he's not an expert in those areas, those are the areas I'm trying to concern myself with to resolve those issues. Obviously, my familial footprint has a propensity for autoimmune stuff, and thyroid and RA fall directly underneath that. So I'm at a stage now where I'm looking at supplements as maybe being the answer, because the first round I went through resolved my lifelong irregularity, okay, which is Hashi's driven. Well, what supports T3 best and Hashimoto's people? Iodine. Why isn't that easier to get? Why did I have to look at how much I had to take and scour and fuss? Why did Hubs have to do that? You know, it should be one of those things as a catch-all where the medical community says, let's throw Occam's razor at it, okay? And instead of looking for zebras and pharma in that problem, let's go ahead and look at nutrition and support the body and see if that works first. It's so much easier. Here's your supplements for magnesium citrate and D3. Oh, you got Hashi's? Let's put in iodine too and see if we can't support those hormonal needs. And goiter, I found out, is nothing more but the thyroid enlarging to try to capture more iodine because it's insufficient in the diet. My grandfather, my mother's dad died on the operating table at 34 from goiter. This is the thing. Also, if you look at ancestral diets, guys, I'm Norwegian. I mean, hugely Norwegian. My mom's from Norway, okay? We classically had seaweed, sea kelp, sea moss as part of a standard diet there, ancestral speaking. The herring that are from the seas that were often caught and eaten by my ancestral people were not deficient in iodine. I was listening to Elizabeth Bright. She says you have to have 5 or 6 cans of sardines to get the iodine that you need now in modern times. Was it like that 300 years ago? Well, certainly not, because the seas weren't as polluted and the soil still maintained some of that basic trace mineral stuff, and we were getting our food from the soil. We were getting our food, harvesting it from the sea. All that stuff was working together in collusion to make that echo circle work, and we're part of that. We're part of that circle. So now it could be that the reason that I'm all messed up with my thyroid is simple ancestry. I don't know. It's a supposition I haven't proven. It's speculative at this point. But I do feel as though I'm on the right track. So I got the Lugols. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. I think it's Lugols. And I'm going to link what I'm using as the iodine therapy. I'm going to take 2 drops, horizontal drops, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and see if I can't notice an improvement. Now, how would I know? Well, first off, my skin would stop flaking and being dry, which is super thyroid. And then when I got a test done in 3 months, right before I go back to the States, I returned to the States, then I could compare that thyroid number with the one that I just got last week, okay? Because I've been eating very clean since November 28th. No slip-ups at all. And that has not resolved. Now I've even gone a step further. I'm taking out all the stimulants. I'm having only water or Topo Chico, which is live water, mineral water, and I'm going to see where that goes too. I'm hoping, if our theory is correct, I loop Hubs because he's the one that's been very proactive with my thyroid help. If it does get better, I will have to assume it's the iodine, because I already had done a month of high-fat, lower to moderate protein protocol for being a carnivore. And when my health is engaged like this, when I saw those white blood count numbers come off as different, I was like, okay, it doesn't matter if I want to cheat, how I want to cheat, none of that matters. The only thing that matters is getting to the bottom of what the problem is. And I think I can do that. And nobody cares about my health like me. And that's where you need to be too. If you want to live a long life and you want to live every day in a quality way and not have all these problems, or ones that are your own problems but different than mine, you need to really address your own health and be the boss of it. And join me on my journey, guys. I don't want to beleaguer all this, but all I'm saying is that maybe I do have RA, because Hubs had said that the early stages of RA, the RA factor, doesn't start to come into play until you're more progressive in the earlier part of the disease. It could be that because I don't eat very inflammatory and I've been very good for 2 months, it might be that RA factor is where it is at because of that. Like if I had just been eating with my normal kind of cheats around the edges every couple, 2-3 weeks or something like that, it could have been at a 14. We'll never know. But I was bothered enough by how I was feeling with the joint pain and the inflammation that I just decided to just go hard on the pain and get stricter as a matter of consequence because of my concern. With how I felt, because I hadn't had a blood test since November of 22. So I was actually 14 months into getting another one, where usually I come down to Mazatlan and I get a full panel every November, and I just didn't this time because we had gone to my niece's destination wedding, and then we went to Dad's house in December down in Hualtuco for a week, and my schedule was not my own. It was very, 52 card pickup, and so I didn't do my normal regime. And now I am. So I just want to invite you guys to subscribe to my channel and like my channel. And one thing I want as a parting comment is that I really appreciate this doctor that reached out to me. He said, you seemed upset in your video and I didn't want to add my comments to your video because of that. I was like, what an insightful, sensitive guy. That was my takeaway, is that he was being more of a humanitarian than most doctors would even think to be. Like he's watching a YouTube video about some middle-aged gal. I was like, really? You're kind of cool. Anyway, I did appreciate that. And I just want to say that I appreciate everyone and how sensitive they've been, because I've been extremely transparent. And I think it's easy for people to look at somebody else through the lens of criticism and then say, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you suck, you're this, you're that. But truly, some days it's difficult for me to do the things I need to do my job, to be the wife I need to be, to not dwell on this and get disheartened. It's difficult. It's a challenge. And I don't know if any of you guys feel that way too, when you don't find quick answers and you're not able to make yourself feel well quickly. But I do appreciate you guys' sensitivity and being nice to me when, a lot of people are kind of trollish and haters and stuff. So anyway, I know that will come. But for now, when I'm at a low point and I'm struggling to figure out what's going on, I so appreciate you guys, your support and stuff. Anyway, thank you. Subscribe.